Another video. Woohoo! Alright. In this one, I want to talk about anxiety. Um, for me, it controlled me for years. Anxiety. I suffered with it. And I very gradually started coming to the conclusion that there's a positive anxiety, there's a time and a need for it. It's a human reaction that we have. Very similar to, I'm sure you've heard of it, the fight or flight mode. And we've kind of, there's a good side of it too. And we tend to focus only on the negative side of anxiety, the negative side of worrying. And it's it's a defense mechanism for us, and it's needed. It has its purpose. Without worrying, I believe that we wouldn't be concerned about things. We wouldn't be aware or protective of things that we should be during times when we are worried. I think that worry causes us to be prepared, to defend or protect ourselves over whatever it is that we're worrying about. Then there's the certain point, the fine line that we cross with worry that turns to a negative, where we let it limit us and what it is that we do. I keep referring to myself a lot because this is about me and my journey, my experience. And worrying got out of my control for a long time. And that anxiety got out of my control for a long time. And I needed to find a balance with it. You know the famous legal scale where she's standing there with the statue with the scales. And I learned years ago, like I say, I used to work with people with developmental disabilities and many other emotional, behavioral type disabilities. And one of my instructors that I worked with, one of my mentors, he said, use that scale. And what we have control of goes in one hand, and what we don't have control of goes in another. And right now, for example, I'm going to use the state of the world with this quarantine and the coronavirus. Am I in control of that personally as an individual? No. I'm not in control. So that's going to go on this side. And that drops the scale down. And over here, what I'm in control of is lifted up. It's not balanced. Okay? And finding our own personal balance is key for many things. We'll get into it later. in other videos, but like our chakras, okay, need to be in alignment. They need to have balance. We need, and I use chakras and that as a tool for myself. And they need, I need to be healthy and in alignment with myself and find a peace within myself. And there's steps, into doing that. There's, yoga things for certain areas. Meditation is huge. Spending that time alone. Like I say, if your depression is so bad that you're stuck in the bed, make some useful time of it there. Make this quiet time to yourself. Make use of that. Really think deep within yourself and, find the issues that are most bothersome for you. You're the only one that knows them. I'm the only one that knows mine. And find a kind of peace. Breathing. I just took that big sigh, Breathing is really good. When we're nervous, when we're worrying and stuff, take a moment just to breathe in and out. Focus on just breathing. Sensations as it goes in our nose to the back of our mouth, the roof of our mouth, and down our throat into our lungs. Focus on it. Focus on it. Take your mind off of what it is you're worrying about and focus on you for a minute. And how did it feel going out? It's a simple little exercise, and it kind of calms you in the moment, and you can think a little bit more. So we have this coronavirus thing. It's out of our control, and we're up here with no control over what's going on. We don't have control. We don't have a magic switch we can flip and the world's healthy and everybody's fine. Okay? I wish. I'd flip that sucker in a heartbeat, But we do have some things that are in our control. Worrying about this virus. Worrying about everybody having to be confined. Not being able to go out and socialize. Not being able to go to work, maybe. Maybe bills. You're worrying about the everyday stuff that we all worry about. That's a concern for all of us. But it's out of our control in this moment. We have jobs. We had jobs. There's people out there that, are losing businesses and things. Their anxiety is going through the roof, I'm sure. And mine is just as how I'm going to make it to next month, and how rent's getting paid, and bills getting paid, and, how is my family going to be without electricity or something. We do these things. We worry about them. There is a need to worry and be concerned about them. But they're not in our control. So does that mean that they should ruin us and take us down into a depression over it? No. We can do the things that we do have control over to help bring a little bit of balance. We can't cure the whole virus ourselves. Maybe there's one person out there who knows the answers or who can figure them out. But I don't have that ability. So I don't have that knowledge in disease and things like that. So what I can do is follow the guidelines. My anxiety, my worry, causes me to want to take those steps because I want to protect myself, I want to protect my family, my loved ones. And so I follow those steps. I'm staying home. I'm only leaving for necessities, for food and things like that. I gave up hunting for toilet paper, okay? Luckily, I've been able to find it when I absolutely need it, but just had to say, I try to make light of a lot of things just to release the tension. It works for me. It may not work for you, and hopefully I don't offend you with breaking a little humor into it. But by following those guidelines, I'm in control of that. So it kind of lifts the balance. That's something I can put over on this side. Yeah, it's not much. What's out of my control is still way down there, but it kind of lifts it a little bit. And that little bit is important. Okay? Maybe there's someone elderly in my neighborhood or your neighborhood who can't get to the store for their necessities and who doesn't have family or friends looking in on them, checking to see if they have food, their medications, things like that. Maybe with protecting yourself, you can offer to do that for somebody else. It's another thing that goes on what you have control of. It goes on your side, and it helps lift that scale. It helps bring a balance. Okay? That metaphor might work for some, maybe not all. It worked for me. I do it a lot. Is this situation that's affecting me right now, am I in control of it? Or this person's reactions to what am I in control of it? So if I'm not in control of it, why am I stressing on it? I'm in control of what is affecting me and my family. So I can protect me and my family by following the guidelines, by washing my hands, by wearing my mask, by using hand sanitizers, by, cleaning with disinfectants. I can do that. That's in my control. It eases my anxiety some because I'm doing what I can as one person to help this big situation affecting billions, worldwide. That helps with it. I get a little bit of control back on my anxiety and my worry, and it helps. It's a baby step, and that's a benefit. It's a huge realization when you look at it like that. Like I said, worrying and anxiety has a place in our life. When we're worried, like I say, we protect ourselves. We're cautious about something. It pushes us to go within and look at other options, other ways of tackling that worry. The majority of the worry during this time is everybody's health. And by doing the social distancing, by washing our hands, protecting our families, ourselves, things like that. It gives us that little step that we need. What we can't control, we could pray about. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ, so I pray. You may not be, and that's fine, but maybe instead of prayers, you can have just positive thoughts and vibes. Put out positive energies, you know. Like I say, I pray, and I hand it over to somebody with much more ability to take care of the situation than I do myself have. If you're not, like I say, if you're not a believer or whatever, maybe you can find yourself in a space where you can maybe make donations. Maybe you can donate just your time, helping at some local organization that's dealing with all of this. Doesn't necessarily have to be direct person-to-person contact. There's lots of places that just need somebody to help with packaging, supplies, and things like that. If we go within, if it's worrying us enough to keep us awake at night or something like that, we can think. We're so smart. We can think of things we can do. We can find something to do, if that's it. Or we can choose to just take control of what we can, and that is just to stay put. To wait till somebody who does know more can direct us. And I personally don't watch the news a lot. I watch it some. I think the majority of it is very depressing. Somebody's always doing something to somebody else. And it seems to be the headline, the main focus, all the negative going on in the world. You're going to find it for sure on the news. I think they are using words that cause a fear or a deep concern within us, and that's what they're supposed to do. Okay. Yes, I believe this virus is bad. Okay. I believe we need to be doing what we're doing. And at the same time, so many people, if you stop and look around, I mean, you may be doing the quarantine properly in your home, but yet you see the neighbor down the street still out socializing, walking the kids all over the place, things like that, not paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing, like what you're doing. And so I think the media is focusing on people that they're trying to get their attention. People like that they're trying to get their attention, so they focus and become more like the others that are following. That doesn't mean we have to be sheep. I'm not saying that. Okay. It's so important to have our own minds. But yet to be smart, to have common sense. Okay, common sense. I, for years, have been putting a little bit of bleach in my dish soap because I have a lot of people in my household. And when somebody goes to school, they come home sick, then the next one gets it. And at the end of that, then another one gets it. And it makes a circle all through the house. And by the time the last person in the house is sick, then the first person who was sick gets it again. So I took those steps. I worried. My anxiety got to me. And so I started doing just that. I'm not huge on the hand sanitizers. I am now. I use them, but back then that was just one simple little step that I could do, that I thought. And it helped a lot. A lot. That cycle kind of quit. I could contain it more within my home. So, again, being careful is, and the common sense is crucial to a lot of things. And there's some people out there that we see that don't have it, obviously, or they think this is some kind of a joke. That causes more worry too. But is it in our control? Can we control what they do? No. But the media takes their attempt at doing it by shocking them, by telling worst case scenarios, things like that. And the rest of us that are listening, it can be overbearing at times and not beneficial to us. We then go into almost a panic, we're afraid of everything. Fear and anxiety, like I say, some of the most intelligent people in the world suffer with anxiety. Okay, so consider yourself among the elite. It's a fun way to look at it. But it warns us. Anxiety affects us all differently. Okay? But when we're out and about and we start getting those feelings, the anxiety, we can kind of feel it. It's a stress. We can feel it in our shoulders. We can feel it in our gut, in our chest, in our throat. And if we learn what those signs are before it gets to a debilitating state, we have a little more control over it. When we're out and we get those feelings beginning, we can stop and look at our surroundings. What's happening around us right now? Who is around us right now? How are they acting? What's maybe, going on environmentally around us that's causing that? Because that's what we need to focus on. We're not doing that to ourselves. There is something that has happened, is happening, that triggers it. And then we worry about what's going to happen. That's us. Because what's going to happen hasn't happened yet. Okay? So it's a big what if. And what ifs can be huge. And they can control us. And they can stick us in our beds. And we don't leave. And we don't live a life. We lose control of it. Now, take a gazelle, for instance. They're a pretty wound up animal. A little mouse, even. Their little noses are going all the time, and they're twitchy, and they're nervous, and they're jumpy, and everything, like a gazelle, And unless they're out in the plains grazing, where they're distracted a little bit, there's not a sense of calmness ever coming from them. But they're worried enough to be aware that there is a possibility that a lion's in the bush a little ways back, gonna pounce. If they hear a noise, they look and they see, am I gonna flight? Am I gonna take off right now from this? Or am I okay? Can I still do what I need to do for my own survival? Or am I gonna let it scare me and run me off, and maybe it was a bird in the bush, something that wasn't gonna hurt them. And then again, if it was, they can get the hell out. Again, it's a warning for us. If we're out and about and say we're at a bar and some creep comes up and starts talking to us weird or whatever, our intuition that we normally do not listen to warns us, hey, feel anxious, be on guard, look around, see if you're okay, who's with you, what are you doing, and we can either leave the bar, or we can realize that they've had a little too much, they're stepping away now, they're doing something else, they're leaving me alone, I'm okay, I can stay, I can continue to enjoy my night. So fear has a purpose. Worry, anxiety has a purpose when it's controlled. And that's hard. It's easy for me to sit here and explain this to you and make it sound really easy, like, oh, just do this and you'll be fine. That's not what I'm saying, okay? Like I say, I was stuck for years suffering from anxiety, and it stopped me from living a life. And I don't want that to happen to you. It was little baby steps that I took, a different view and outlook on what it was that I took, that gradually got easier and not to do as I went along. The more I practiced it, the better and easier it got. I still have it. It doesn't just disappear. Like I say, it's not really ever going to go away. It's in us to do this, to have this. When we have a stage performance or a speech or something to give, our anxiety builds because we want to be good at what it is that we're going to do. We don't want to fail. That worrying causes us to a point to try harder, to practice more, to get it down good before we step out. So there, it's still a good, it's still a positive thing when we let it go to what ifs. That's where it starts slipping and tipping the scale. When we start focusing on all the what ifs. Well, I'm supposed to do this play. I'm supposed to be Abraham Lincoln. I've practiced all my lines and everything. But if I go out there, what if someone doesn't like it? What if I forget my lines? What if I fall flat on my face and I fail and the whole show crashes down around me because I brought the stage down. Okay. That's a negative worry. That's a negative worry. And in that moment where we feel it start to go to what ifs, we need to try and recognize it, catch it, stop it right then and there, and turn it to, what if I go out and I'm flawless? What if I go out and they love me? What if I go out and maybe some big producers in the audience and my part was amazing and I now have a new career opportunity? Okay, you know, that's kind of an extreme example, but that's what I mean. You know, we are in control of those what ifs. Anxiety brings things we need to focus for a moment on to our attention. Once we realize that we're safe, that we're okay, currently in our homes, and that we don't need to, I want to say we don't need to, we need to catch those what ifs, because right now our what ifs are getting ahead of us. Our what ifs are gaining control of us, and they're keeping us up at night with negative worry, and that deprives us from sleep, from the rest that we need, from the break that our minds need and our bodies need to be healthy, to function the next day. So yeah, Corona's hitting us right now, and it's a hard time for all of us because we can't get out, we can't socialize, we can't talk about things right now. Not unless it's over the phone or through a video, something like that. The what ifs, while we're in our home and we're safe, and we're healthy, and we're following the guidelines. It's not 100% guarantee, but it's a darn good guarantee that we will be safe. But then our mind goes to the what ifs. Well, what if someone comes over and they get me sick? What if I die? What if my kids are left without a mom? What if my kids get it? That's even bigger for a parent. That's huge. But what if they don't? How about we switch that thought in our head, the one that we instantly go to, just the, oh, it's going to be bad. Okay, we go to Eeyore. It'll never work. You know, all this kind of stuff. What if we throw a little Tigger in our, you can tell I'm a mom, right? Eeyore and Tigger. But what if we, you know, calm him down? He's a little out there. He's like some of these people that aren't getting it. Nothing's going to bother him ever because he's flouncy pouncy Tigger, you know, do whatever. Let's find a Piglet zone. Piglet, pretty good little dude. He worries a lot too. And it's with encouragement, it's with the safety, the feeling protected that he gets from Pooh that helps him to face the world, to face his fears, to realize it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. I try to throw these out there because there's a wide variety of people that are watching me, and it's so hard to explain, and I'm not an expert. I'm not. Again, these are just what I do, okay? there's a time and a place for worry. And at 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning is not the place or the time. We need to be rested. We need to be okay to function, because this is going to pass. Okay? It is going to go away. We need to just do what we can in our power to help that along. What we don't need to do is let our mind run away with the what ifs. And if they do, flip it to a positive what if. Counteract it. Well, what if I got it and I die? Well, what if you don't? And what if what you did helped somebody else and they didn't die either? What if that person's life we saved was the one who has the cure? You know what I mean? There's a bright side to all of it. To all of it. And we have to recognize it. We don't have to live in this Tigger world. Nothing's gonna, bother me. Everything's fine. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's real. It's real. It's life. There's things to worry about. There's reasons to worry. There's things that we are in control of. There's things that we're not. And we need to find that balance within ourselves. And when we do that, that helps our minds think differently. We reprogram them differently. And it's not so scary anymore. We're not so afraid, What if we go out on that stage to be Abraham Lincoln and there's no producer in the audience that catches us? Nobody laughed or hated our performance. What if we just did it and it was fine and nothing happened? That's good too. And we did it. We lived. We tried it. We didn't let our anxiety, our worry, stop us from moving forward. Easier said than done. Again, easier said than done. But it's doable. It's doable if we just try it. And the very first time you try it, you're probably not going to do it right. I didn't. It takes baby steps. Every day, several times a day. My anxiety was hitting me 24/7, worrying about everything. My son that had committed suicide caused me to worry greatly about my other kids, because statistics say if it happens with one person in a family, there's usually going to be another to follow. I can't live my life watching over my kids, making sure they don't follow. It's not a life for me, and it's not a life for them, because I would be on them all the time. Just constantly. They wouldn't be able to live and experience. But my worry, my anxiety, that could happen, causes me to breathe and watch over. If I start seeing signs in conversations or certain, down days, everybody's got them. But it causes me to talk to them about it. It causes me to encourage them about it, about life. And if they're feeling down, knowing they have a place to go, someone to talk to. That I'm not their mom in that moment. I'm whatever they need to say, they can say, and I will not judge. Okay, I will not get angry at them. I will not punish them for it. Okay, I'm neutral in that moment. I'm doing it for them. And that helps ease my anxiety because I'm doing what I am in control of. I wasn't in control of my oldest son's actions. He's his own person. Each of my kids are their own people. Each of your kids are their own people. We can only control ourselves. And worrying, oh my God, what if they do too? Trust me, I worry about it. I worry about that every day. Okay? I'm not making light. I'm not. I just can't live in that worry. Because it's not a life for me. And it's not a life for my kids. They have to experience life. Anxiety can be good when it's controlled. And we need to gain that control over it. Okay? I hope I've made some sense to break it down into what they call the layman's terms. Because I'm not sitting up here throwing big old fancy words and things at anybody. I'm speaking from my heart, and I don't want anybody to ever go through the loss of a child. But it happens because we're not in control of that. Yes, there's things we can do. My worry has caused me to be a better listener for my kids. And I'm not saying that I did this and this is what caused it with my oldest, but to not put my expectations out onto them, to not push my anxiety out onto them. And when we're all trapped in this house during times like this, it's hard not to, because they see it. They hear us talking about it amongst other adults. They see our routines have all changed and everything. Kids are so smart. Little sponges. It's true. It's so true. And we have to let our anxiety affect us enough to where we're aware of that. Where we're aware of doing just that. If they see us walking around all stressed, nervous, and upset, they're going to do it. And we're passing that on to the next generation. Our own baggage. You get that too. You know? Carry your own weight in the world. And carry mine too. That's not fair. That's not fair. So we need to be mindful of how we handle anxiety. If we are in control of it or not. We need to recognize that it has a place in our life to warn us, to have us be cautious, to make us more aware, more prepared for life, versus focusing out of control, out of our hands, in the what-if world. Because, man, our imaginations run wild. It's crazy. It's crazy. We're powerhouses. We are so incredibly powerful. as an individual and who we are. We can do this. I've started doing it myself, and I hope my experience helps you to do the same. I hope you all stay safe. I hope you're concerned about what's happening in the world, but I don't want you to be afraid of it. It's still a good place out there. It's still beautiful. The sun still comes up every day. The moon comes out every night. The next day always follows. We get a new chance to do something. And the end for this is coming. It'll be over soon. And we'll be okay. We need to be worried enough to take the precautions, to follow the guidelines, to protect ourselves and our families. And we need to be mindful enough to recognize when the what ifs set in. And when they do, counteract them with the positive what if. Try and find the good. Try and find the brighter side in everything we do, because there is a brighter side. So, I hope it helps. Okay, you all stay safe. Bye.